We left TikTok and we don't regret it. And here's why. I have been on TikTok for the last 3 years since I started Tribe Agency. I gave it a good run for 3 years. Literally, this is our 3rd year on TikTok. From a business perspective, I don't find any value in TikTok anymore for us. Now, I think for certain companies and businesses, it makes a ton of sense. Like, for instance, if you're a hairdresser, if you're a real estate agent, more like the direct to consumer products, or even a brand that is primarily retail. I think those are very well served, or beauty products on TikTok, health and wellness. There's kind of niche lanes on TikTok that I think would benefit from being there. From our perspective, I felt like we were just wasting a ton of time building content for a platform where none of our audience really is on, nor do I expect them to be on. But also, it just wasn't paying us back for our time. And so what we ended up doing just recently is we moved away from TikTok with the intent of taking all of that focus that we had put in towards TikTok and putting it into YouTube, which I actually think is a much better strategy. And obviously, hindsight's always 2020. So did I know this in the beginning? No. Do I know it now? Yes. So we're all in on YouTube, all out on TikTok. Here's why we made the switch and how it improved literally everything. So bigger, more strategic conversations to have about TikTok. They're about attention, not retention. And YouTube is about retention and education. It is a search engine, again, owned by Google. And I personally am on YouTube, I don't know, sometimes 2, 5, 10 times a day, searching for various things. It's an educational platform primarily, and you can learn a ton on YouTube. I would call it YouTube University, because there's just so much to learn on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, I would highly recommend you are. And we've got other posts that I can reference here. I did a whole content piece on YouTube and our newfound passion towards it and why that should matter to any business owner. YouTube is about longevity. They're about leads and building trust. YouTube gives you opportunities to put links in your bio, which TikTok does too, but they're really weird about it. YouTube, you can kind of construct a website page basically on your channel, and you can also put your settings to have your descriptions with all of your call to actions. It's just like a completely different model. It's way more sophisticated, and I feel like much more geared towards business. From a business perspective, we're done with it. So the Tribe Agency TikTok as you know it will be cease to exist. And find us on Make Your Brand a Verb channel on YouTube, because everything we put into TikTok has now been moved to YouTube. So YouTube has a much bigger, broader audience of people. It has executives, it has students, it has corporate employees, it has teachers, it has consumers, it has leaders. I mean, literally everyone you know has probably gone onto YouTube. Not so much the shorts to scroll. I think that's more generational, but I think long form, I'm on it all day long learning things that I don't know. And I don't think I'm alone in that. So there's a much higher value audience than TikTok. That's another big part. It's also really easy to repurpose your shorts. So our MO for YouTube is to build out long form content and then have my social media team not only use it for YouTube shorts, but we also repurpose it for social media content on Instagram, which we're still on, LinkedIn, which is our primary audience. So why we left TikTok is pretty easy to tell you, and why we honestly are not looking back. TikTok gave us reach and likes, it was trending, fun, but it didn't give us retention or business, to be honest. YouTube gave us better leads, longer shelf life. Like, once you've made a long form piece of content, it lasts. I have people opting into lead magnets or opt-in pages that I linked in videos from 3 years ago. and I'll just randomly get an opt-in on that. And I know it's the only place I put it was on YouTube. So I know that's coming directly from YouTube. You get evergreen traffic, like you can set up a webinar or an educational course as like a free hosted mini webinar. I have one of those on my YouTube, and that is just on all the time, 24/7. So if someone's searching for something that's the topic of your course, they're going to find that inevitably on YouTube. And that is not the case on TikTok. On TikTok, you post and it's around until it's not. It either goes viral or it doesn't. It gets engagement or it doesn't. And so it typically dies on the vine after a couple of weeks if it hasn't taken off and it doesn't do really well. It's just kind of not promoted anymore in your For You page. Attention is a big part of TikTok. People have to do viral provocative things to get people's attention. It's all about attention. It's all about hooks. It's audio, trending audio, trends, all of that is what TikTok really is for, and it's not really for long-term gain. The bottom line on why we left TikTok and moved to YouTube is that sometimes the slower platforms win bigger in the long run. And I'm just like such an advocate this year about YouTube and kind of a hater on TikTok because I feel like they've really changed. If you're thinking of shifting from TikTok to YouTube or even just starting with YouTube independent of TikTok, here's what we've learned. Our content stuck around longer. Our leads were higher quality. We got more inbound DMs and engagement, comments, opt-ins, and qualified clients that are genuinely interested in our services. I wouldn't say that's going to happen for everyone, but I think if you've heard what I'm talking about, you have to really understand your audience and their buying habits and also what they're looking for and how they show up. I just can't picture my ideal client profile scrolling TikTok. So it was fun while it lasted, and maybe we'll be back. Maybe they'll change their platform. Maybe it'll evolve over time. I don't know. Never say never. But I would say right now, our focus is all in on YouTube and all out on TikTok.